Now, I was here about 5 hours ago at this spot, and the water edge where I'm standing now was just about 3 to 5 feet behind me. So it has grown just since this afternoon. Just to give you guys an idea of how large some of these ice chunks are, we found this one that has fallen over the last couple days, and it's larger than my head. But some of the ones behind me here, they're as large as a small sedan. Well, Megan, it's not looking too good. This house behind me here is almost sideways. You can't even see the bottom floor of this two-story house. I'm going to step aside so we can see a little bit closer at this house, but here is the entrance just to try to get into the house. It's completely blocked off, and windows are broken. You can actually see directly into the house here. There's actually cracks inside. You can see a little closer, but this right here is the foundation for the home. This is where the home is supposed to sit, and you see that large gap. Well, that's the bottom floor right there, and there is the garage. Now, a spokesperson with Governor Walker's administration said this flight can bring in thousands of Chinese tourists each year. Engineers say they're hoping to have this fixed in 3 to 5 days, but it could take longer, counting on how quick they can get that material shipped in.
Cassie, about 14,000 people commute from Anchorage to the Valley every single day, and if they are stuck in traffic right now, what should they not do as they're waiting?
Well, the police department told me there's been a lot of problems with people calling 911 while they're stuck in this traffic here, which is holding up dispatch. So that's one of the many things they shouldn't do, as well as trying to use those emergency exits to turn around. It can cause traffic as well as some accidents. So those are a couple things that you can avoid while being stuck in this traffic. Megan, hey Joe. So a large crowd showed up to the vigil tonight. It actually just ended, but there's still a large amount of people hanging around. And they were holding candles like this one here, showing their support for the homeless youth here in Anchorage. Well, Scott, so it's going to be opening up from Minnesota to C Street, and they've been working on this project all summer, and it's finally done. And I'm going to turn the camera around so you guys can see the road that we're on right now if you guys haven't seen it just yet. So this new road is going to make it easier for folks living in Bayshore, Ocean View, and West Anchorage to get more popular places like Target and Cabela's. In fact, we're heading to Target right now just to see from Minnesota to Target how quick of a ride that's going to be. Signs on the road say the speed limit is 40 miles per hour. The project includes features that make the road safe and convenient for drivers, cyclists, and pedestrians. The new Minnesota 100th interchange includes 2 single-lane roundabouts. And if you look on the side over here, you can see there is some 8-foot wide pathways on both sides of the road that provide a neighborhood bike connection to the trail systems. So good place to ride your bike, walk, but right now in this weather, I probably would not advise it. Well, a portion of the proceeds from this lighting event here is going to go back towards Michael's Memorial. That's going to be a garden here on the ground. For more information about kayaking here in Alaska, you can go to ktva.com. Cassie Schirm, KTVA 11 News. Morning on Daybreak, a student is arrested for making threats on social media. A picture he posted that prompted his peers to call police. State biologists hunting for a bass in West Anchorage Lake. Why it has them concerned.
So when my dad was 18 years old, he bought this airplane and he started Pen Air.
The fate of an airline slated to go on the auction block next month. Rhonda McBride joins us with a preview of Frontiers. And getting out and getting to know Alaska, we take you on a kayak tour of Resurrection Bay in a sculpted garden of ice. Grab that coffee, it's time for Daybreak.
And now from KTVA 11 News, this is Daybreak.
Good morning, I'm Cassie Schirm. Thank you for waking up with Daybreak on this Friday, September 7th. Megan, so I took a walk with 4 people. They live along the Chester Creek Park. And in just the first 3 blocks, we saw more than 20 camps, some just a few steps away from their homes. Now neighbors are saying it's a problem that needs to be fixed fast.
This is not a new problem. It's a crisis where we live.
4 people
in our backyards.
living in the same neighborhood, dealing with the same problem.
You'd be amazed at what you see when we walk back here.
Taking over what they say is their lives.
So what they're doing is they're using our neighborhood, and it's literally our backyard, as an unofficial camping area.
A beautiful backyard with something to hide.
There's sewage on the ground, and there's needles, and there's all the trash, and it's a health hazard for them, and it's a health hazard for us, and it's illegal.
Just 5 minutes into our walk,
Underneath the ground, it's smoldering.
neighbors called 911 for a fire in a camp.
That's not good.
Something they've done many times before.
I honestly thought that my shed was on fire, and it came within 20 feet of my shed. So if it had caught my shed on fire, it probably would have jumped my house too. We told the firemen when they got here that there was ammunition earlier. We don't know, so protect yourselves.
Look at this.
Fires aren't the only worry surrounding this community.
Where'd all these bikes come from?
Crime is keeping them up at night.
What we are seeing, though, is a big increase in criminal encampments. These are encampments where there's a lot of people working there, and they're engaged in chopping up bikes, stealing stuff, stealing propane tanks, things from the neighborhood here.
It's a very large camp, and it seems to be a big chop shop for a lot of the bicycles that get stolen. And this one, it still remains. It's been here, gosh, at least 6 months, probably a lot longer.
The neighborhood now is taking things into their own hands.
Hey, folks, someone sleeping right there? Man, this is a park. It's not a place to sleep. We're going to report it, and I suggest that you head out pretty soon. Get out of here. There's been a tremendous growth in these camps here in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. There's no question.
And now some say is the time the city needs to do something.
You know, we have to get beyond our horror stories because everybody has one. We have to get beyond sharing these ridiculous situations, and we have to move into action.
We've done one sweep through the entire trail, Chester Creek Trail area. However, camps do move around, so even when one process has been completed, then you come back and new ones may have moved in.
Nancy Burke, the city housing and homeless coordinator, says Chester Creek Park has been a big focus this summer.
We are getting there. It is something of a resource question. We don't have enough resources to address every camp in every location, and yet we're trying to make the best use and the most effective use of the resources we do have.
It's scary. Yeah.
After years of fearing for their safety, being on edge 24/7, and cleaning up after the uninvited guests to their neighborhood, you would think these neighbors would want this problem to just go away.
We have compassion.
And you'd be wrong.
When did it become okay to just say they can live in their own filth and that's okay? They deserve better than that, and we deserve better than that too. And we need to be better at fixing this situation.
Seeing that video, there's no doubt that's a big problem, and how big those camps actually are.
I was amazed walking through. So you're on the trail and you're walking in, and you can't really see it until a few steps in, and then it's like a full-on house with all these tents set up.
Well, it's no secret homelessness is a real problem here in Anchorage, and the numbers keep rising with more than 1,000 people who are without a home. And some of those people have made their home among the trees in Chester Creek Park. Yesterday, we showed you how neighbors are saying enough is enough. And tonight, KTVA 11's Cassie Schirm talks with one of the many people living in the woods. Cassie.
Thanks, Megan. While out walking through the camps behind Eagle Street, I spoke with many people who live out in the woods. I ran into Alan Kenny along the trail, who shared his story with me in his makeshift home hidden in the trees.
Oh, we gotta take ownership.
Just walking down the Chester Creek Trail on a beautiful afternoon, you hear the stream, enjoy the radiant fall colors, and take in the fresh air. But footsteps away from the trail is a different experience. Trash on the ground and a stench from makeshift bathrooms in the woods.
Dealing with life on life's terms sometimes isn't always pretty.
Scattered in between tents that some people call home.
We're not out here because we want to be. We're out here because of situations and circumstances, put us here. I think everybody's life is tested some way, somehow.
Alan Kinney says he fell into hard times last year, losing his home and job.
I have no felonies, no misdemeanors, no traffic, no nothing. Things just like a snowball at the top of a mountain. It just got bigger and badder things happen. You try to put one thing together and something else falls apart.
Now he and his wife are living in a tent in the heart of Chester Creek Park.
It's hard, like we had a moose walk through. Mooses don't understand. So we get out the way.
Down the trail, Kenny takes us to a place he now calls home.
I know it looks real bad, but this is where our garbage is. We take the garbage and we take it out to the streets. I was going to put a hot water heater up our clothing and kitchen and areas. We just grabbed up all that we could, and this is it. This is my house. It's my igloo. And we put this over the top of it, tried to save what we could.
What has it been like living out here since December?
Cold, unforgiving. Your animal instincts kick in immediately.
Kenny says even though life's rough in the woods and illegal to camp, he would rather sleep outside than in the shelters.
It's very crowded, and you have a lot of different personalities in the shelters. You might not know if somebody's going through alcoholic withdrawals or drug withdrawals. These are things that I'm not used to dealing with.
Hidden in the trees, Kenny says it's a constant battle of trying to survive and obeying the law while being moved from one spot to the next.
It doesn't matter what you feel like. You obey the law. The law says you got to go, you got to go. It may not be here. You might have to move further down.
Kenny has seen firsthand some of the crime in the homeless communities, including the so-called chop shops where stolen bikes end up.
This is a bad name. The chop shops, they do exist. It's bad for the community. And yeah, even though I'm on bad times, and yes, I could probably use a couple of really good high-end bikes, but I refuse.
Did you ever think that this could happen to you?
No. No. Not in a million years. No. No. Never.
As the leaves start to fall, Kenny knows he doesn't have long to get out of this situation before the first snow hits.
There is housing. And it's out there. And I'm going to find it. And I'm going to get in it. And then once I do, this will be a chapter in my book that I will remember forever. I will work very hard not to be back here, ever.
Till Kenny finds a new job, you'll find him riding his bike on the trail, going to and from his home in the woods, until he's forced to move again. Now tomorrow, the city of Anchorage will be announcing their 3-year plan to address homelessness and how they plan to bring more housing to the city. We're going to have more on that on KTVA at 5, 6, and 10 tomorrow.
All right, Cassie, it'll be interesting to see what is in that plan tomorrow. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Joe Vigil, honoring the men and women who put their lives on the line. Veterans Day is this weekend. Alaska has the highest number of vets per capita, and many of them each have a different story and individual struggles. KTVA 11's Cassie Schirm met one vet who has experienced the domino effect of bad health, making it hard for him to get to his front door. Cassie.
That's right. I met Richard Keith a week ago, and he told me his story and how housing is now his most pressing issue.
The Air Force is good to me. I'm going to tell you the truth, it was. I got a chance to see some of the parts of the world and got a chance to meet my wife.
Richard Keith spent most of his life serving our country.
I served quite a bit. You know, I did a year in Vietnam. Most of the time I was in Japan. Then I ended up here.
Keith and his wife Taki lived in this house together until she died.
I figured she put all her pictures in here. I don't even know if I got anything in that funny unit here. So that's me and her. We were married for 51 years, and she passed away 4 years ago. So I've been by myself ever since.
After her death, Richard Keith lost his right leg to diabetes.
This is the one I have a hard time with.
And just a year ago, he lost the other leg.
The doc saw it, and he said it's gangrene. And he said, you got about 10 days to make up your mind. He goes, if you're not, it's going to kill you. So I had to take the other leg.
But again, the angle is wrong.
So Keith's neighbor, Wes Bascom, helped him build a temporary ramp.
You know, I kind of gave him a hand what I could, you know, hand him tools and all that stuff. You know, I said, well, it'll be good for the summer.
But now that winter is hit, he is facing another obstacle, just getting to his front door.
When I rolled in, I looked at that. I said, oh, boy. Let's see if I can get up this thing. So I got the first part, it was kind of steep. And I could grip it, but all of a sudden, I hit some slick spot, and down I went.
His neighbor saw him fall from the window and helped him up, but worried the next time could be worse.
My concern is Richard falling again. You know, he's lost both legs now, and he's definitely can't be handling those falls. If I can do anything for Richard, I will. You know, I'd build the ramp myself, but finances just doesn't cut it.
For now, Keith sits in his chair and waits for a new ramp from the VA or housing that is more wheelchair friendly.
Down and try to find a decent place to live and get out of here. I've been in this thing for about 40 years. And used to be I could keep up with it. If it wasn't for him over there, you know, I'd probably be in trouble. You know, I got good neighbors.
He's a Vietnam vet. He served our country. He did for us what I couldn't do. And he's a good man. You know, he's a value to our community. So, you know, I care about Richard. My wife does. Our neighborhood does.
Keith has more than he can handle, but says he continues to do the best he can. Now, there are many vets facing some of the same problems Keith faces. I spoke with the VA about how they help, and they say it's a lengthy process, but they create a one-stop shop for vets to go to, which they hope helps.
What that is an office where any veteran can call, email, or walk in anytime during our business hours and afterwards, even for emails. And we will try to get them the services or the information they need to navigate the system. We realize that this system sucks, and we're doing what we can to try to improve the process.
Well, it's sad to see that.
Very
sad. The guy's a veteran, down in his luck, and he can't even get into his house. So, Cassie, you were saying that the process is what has a lot of veterans, you know, waiting or maybe deterring them from getting help.
For sure. And they're saying that they're trying to work on that process because it is taking a long time for people to get the help that they need. And they're saying that it's a new era for the VA here in Alaska, so they're going to do some more outreach programs, but there still is a lot of veterans out there who are dealing with these struggles every day.
Yeah, hope they get the help they need.
Me too.
All right, Cassie, thanks.
Good evening. I'm Megan Mazurek. Crews in Seward working nonstop, dealing with heavy rain and flooding. While one storm's already moved through the area, another one expected to hit tomorrow. KTVA 11's Cassie Schirm shows us the high water from Seward.
Crews have been working around the clock trying to clear creeks like this one right here from flooding areas. Now, if you see this bridge, it's Nash Road Bridge right here, and you can see the gravel and rocks that are piling up under this bridge. And then on the other side, we have a water that's rushing through. This water is the main problem for a lot of residents in the area, and I spoke to some who say they're just trying to keep a close eye on it to see if it's going to get worse.
I fish halibut, silvers, rockfish.
On most days, you can find Travis McCrae out on the water.
I caught my first fish when I was 4 years old, and I still remember the fish.
McCrae has lived in Seward for many years with his pup, Lance Corporal.
Go get your toy. Go on, go get it.
So rain is nothing new to him.
It's like a nightmare. When you least expect it, here it comes again. A nightmare.
But this recent weather is keeping him up at night.
I mean, it's hard to go to sleep. You don't know if you're going to wake up swimming or...
Living next to the creek, this isn't the first time McCrae has faced floods before.
8 times. I'm really getting sick of it, too. It wouldn't be so bad, but, I mean, I'm by myself. The dog, he don't know how to bail water. Go on.
Now McCrae is left to try to clear the water out of his house that he built many years ago.
They get stopped up.
But this time, he now faces a new problem.
I pinched a nerve in my back, and I've been having a lot of problems with it. I went to the hospital, and there's not much they can do with a pinched nerve.
That's why he's just thankful the crews are out digging day and night before more rain heads their way.
I'm very lucky that they started digging when they did start digging. Usually, they wait until the water starts running in the yard, then they start digging. I'm, oh, God. Yeah, it's too late, you know, for me. I'm so low. You know, everything's so low down here.
With all of these problems, many would wonder what is keeping him here.
I like to catch big fish, or I sure wouldn't be here.
Because the answer is simple.
Simple as eating a piece of cake. Chocolate with some ice cream on the side.
Even though he's lost so much from the floods, no amount of water is going to keep him from doing what he loves doing most.
Yeah, I can't give up. I ain't the kind of give up ain't in me.
The battle isn't over yet. Crews are going to be working all day tomorrow with bigger and heavier equipment, trying to clear this creek back behind me here and the lots of gravel that are just piling on behind me to other areas of Seward to fill in some of those spots. In Seward, I'm Cassie Schirm.
Well, crews got a break in the rain today, but you've been tracking this storm. When is the next one going to hit?
Empty chairs, bare ski racks, and closed trails. But that's not for long. Alaska Mountain Management is working hard to get those skis back underneath you. And conditions are looking good for the Glacier Bowl Express.
Yeah, we had a couple snowstorms bump through last week that really delivered the goods. There's considerable snow up here, and we heard it's skiing great from our patrol and mountain setup crew.
They're pretty good out there. It's
better than you think.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
That's according to two of the top dogs themselves who were out testing the runs today.
There you go. Yeah. Back to work. We were just out checking the different runs and making sure that the terrain that we have available to ski makes sense with the operation plan.
This amount of snow has everyone excited for opening day.
Yeah, the mood in the town after this last snowstorm came rolling through completely changed the dynamic of the people here in Girdwood, and this snow down to the valley floor has just made it great. I mean, the fat biking is great, the skiing is good right now. They groomed the Nordic Loop last night, so I mean it's winter again here in Girdwood, and it's awesome. So.
Nobody wants to ski more than our employees either, do they?
Yeah, no, that's why we're here.
Every lifty, as we're skiing around, every lifty, they got a shovel, they've been digging all day, and they're like, "Come on, yo!" So, it's like life on the chain gang, but they're stoked anyway.
As those crews are working hard to open the whole mountain, the excitement is building. All that work is worth it to these hard workers.
And then you have a nice tightrope line.
To give Alaskans that feeling that you can only get out on the slopes.
It's just a feeling, you got the views, you got the cold, it's refreshing, and I mean, just the feeling of kind of weightlessness in the deep snow.
Today was bottomless.
It was.
Yeah, my general feeling today was bottomless until I stuck my head in the snow.
When skiers and snowboarders step into the tram and this door closes, they know it's time to shred.
Alaska is going to continue making more snow like this back behind me here so they can hopefully open the bottom part of the mountain sometime soon. Cassie Schirm, KTVA 11 News.
It was just a normal day of hiking for George Klug and his fiancée Selena Hudson.
Just God's beauty. It's just
the beauty of nature and all the glaciers. It's very unique.
They were excited to go check out the Byron Glacier when it started to talk.
This is a live glacial cave, and if you can listen carefully, you can hear the cracking. Like it was cracking and smacking and whatever you want to call it, but it was kind of talking, saying something's about to happen. It became more and more frequent. I got it. That sent a message. The deep cracks were loud. And yes.
The couple decided not to go in the cave after hearing all the cracking.
Yeah. There's a couple of hikers before us that went in there and came back, and this probably happened about 15 minutes after they came back through.
Yeah, they just like more frequently and more intensity, and our cameras were rolling.
Just to give you guys an idea of how large some of these ice chunks are, we found this one that has fallen over the last couple days, and it's larger than my head. But some of the ones behind me here, they're as large as a small sedan and maybe even a little bit larger.
They say if the collapse would have been any earlier, that cool moment could have turned deadly.
It was a miracle no one really got caught inside or on the other side when that was happening. So. It's still dangerous. I mean, there's still ledges that are very sketchy, loose parts just kind of hanging on the right side.
Safety officials agree.
It's not safe to stand in those structures. They could fall at any time. And so even though the thrill is there, we think people should put safety first.
Unfortunately, there have been many close calls and accidents in and around the caves. Just last summer, a woman was hit by ice and died. On our hike to Byron today, the couple noted that this cave keeps on changing.
A lot more ice chunks down there than Wednesday than we actually witnessed.
Well, it looks like a section right there fell.
Yeah, it looks like that fell. Oh yeah, and there's a crack right on that side.
Their hopes are for people to see their video and inspire others to adventure more, but in a safe way.
Experts say there are no safe ice caves to go in here at the Chugach National Forest. So if you do want to check out Byron Glacier Caves or any of the other caves in the area, the best thing you can do is to stand on the outside in a safe distance. Reporting from Byron Glacier, I'm Cassie Schirm.